I was in town yesterday, and I saw some JWs, with their cart. So I was interested to see what was going on. They don't actually know who I am because I've changed my look. I'm a bit of a hobo now. I'm not the clean cut, clean shaven JW I used to be. So they didn't know who I was. So I went and sat near them to see what was going on. What happened? So I was sat there for a good 45 minutes. Now there were 3 JWs sat there, 2 sisters and a brother, which I thought was interesting. Them all counting their time for doing what I was surprised at was absolutely nothing. They were actually, chatting and actually gossiping to each other about other JWs, some of whom I knew, so that was interesting. But besides the point, is that they had their cart actually pointed behind them. So they had the cart in front of them, but it was pointing behind, so that if anyone actually saw the cart and looked at all interested, they wouldn't know. They made no attempt to talk to anyone. And that surprised me to a point, because I know that sometimes JWs have a bit of lackluster on the ministry, feeling a bit discouraged or whatever. But there were 3 of them there, and they made no effort. And I thought this organisation was at least trying to be loving, trying to help others, because they believe that Armageddon is only around the corner and has been for a long time, but it's still around the corner, just near now. So I thought, well, surely they would make an effort. So this made me start thinking of love. And there are a few good points in this scripture which is about love, but there is one point I actually want to talk about, because there's loads of them, but I don't want to bore you. Right, so we have 1 Corinthians 13. There are so many points they don't actually live up to as an organisation or as individuals, but I'm actually going to focus on one point. So chapter 13, verse 4, beginning. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous. Does not brag. It does not get puffed up. Does not behave indecently, like covering up child abuse. Does not look for its own interests. So it helps other people, not just themselves. Never known JWs help other people other than themselves, but whatever. Does not become provoked. Does not keep account of the injury, which is strange, because if God doesn't keep account of the injury, why do the elders and therefore disfellowship people? Now this is the point I really want to talk about love. It does not rejoice over unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth. Now, how can you know the difference between unrighteousness and the truth? If you are supposed to not rejoice over unrighteousness, but to rejoice with the truth, you must know the truth. As Jehovah's Witnesses, we always called the organisation and the belief system that we had as the truth. We talked about, is that individual in the truth? Are they still in the truth? Have they fallen away from the truth? So how can we be sure of what is unrighteousness and what is truth? Well, it doesn't make sense that if you are trying to find the truth about the subject or about a particular thing, that you are not allowed to look and research for yourself. It doesn't make sense that you cannot look at a subject objectively, which is to look at different people's viewpoints and look at the facts and tally up your own ideas. No, if you question the elders as to the organisation, as to a particular doctrine, as to understanding something better, you are either told that you must wait on Jehovah, if there's no answer, that is, or you are very quickly seen as a troublemaker and disfellowshipped fairly quickly, because they do not want to ferment the loaf, which is really people actually looking for truth. So how on earth are you supposed to rejoice in the truth when you're not allowed to look for it? Now, there's a very good and clear warning given by Jesus in Matthew, on the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 6, verse 22, starting. The lamp of the body is the eye. So the eye is what we perceive with, what we understand with, what we use to get an idea of the world, yeah? If then your body is focused, if then your eye is focused, your whole body will be bright. But if your eye is envious, your whole body will be dark. If the light that is in you is really darkness, how great that darkness is. How can you give light when you are not sure what the truth is? How can you go preaching from door to door until you know what the truth is? You must, because of the actual warning which the Son of God has told you. If you don't make sure that your light is truly light, it is darkness, and you're in big trouble. Come on, JWs. Do some research. Find out what is truth. What have you got to lose? If you're wrong, you'll be very grateful that you've looked. If you're right, then it can only strengthen your faith and will make the time that you're on the cart or on the ministry more beneficial, because you'll actually be wanting to help people because you'll have true conviction, unlike it seemed those JWs that I saw yesterday.